Hey guys, and welcome back to my video podcast. Today I have
Mary,
and we're going to be doing an episode on self-worth. But before we get into it, I think we want to do a little icebreaker. And for this icebreaker, because the topic is self-worth, I want you to tell me a moment where you felt worthy.
ooh,
Yeah.
getting into medical school.
Yeah, okay, that's a big shout.
Yeah.
Because med school's in a joke.
No, it's really not.
And was that more like within yourself, or is it a sort of outward?
I think it was more of a within myself kind of vibe, because when you grow up with academic validation, it's like the only good thing you can do is do well in school. And I felt like sometimes I'd feel like an imposter, like I'm not actually doing that great. But then I feel like when you get to a certain level, like if you get into medical school, baby, you are.
There, you no one can deny it, can tell you anything that, oh man,
yeah,
because you've done it.
yeah.
Okay. For me, it really was when I first started healing. Like when I went through this like healing phase journey thing. I actually realized that I am worthy, you know, and I started looking at myself in a different light. So from then onwards, that's when I started looking at myself and I thought, I am so worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into the topic. What is self-worth? What do you think of it? Because I know I didn't give you, I sort of like spat a topic at you.
Yeah. Yeah, told me to just figure it out.
I figured it out. Like I put in an invitation and I said, there.
That's it. I think you should go first, actually.
Okay.
You're feeling what is self-worth to you?
So for me, self-worth is really just finding acceptance within yourself, finding love within yourself, and valuing yourself in a different level. So being able to recognize your faults and still loving yourself despite it. Yeah.
I think, without repeating what you just said, for me, self-worth as a Christian girl is really bound and tied in being a child of God. In that I used to, what I thought I deserved was the bare minimum, but then you learn that someone once said the only thing we deserve in this life is love. And I think self-worth is acknowledging that you deserve love in all forms.
You deserve kindness.
You deserve kindness.
You deserve peace.
You deserve loyalty. You deserve everything the world has to offer.
Exactly. And more.
And more.
Because you're a child of God.
Exactly.
Yeah. So even for me, when you look at it in a biblical context sort of view, in terms of Christianity as well, in God's eyes, we're fearfully and wonderfully made.
Exactly.
So why are you doubting yourself in any form? Like I get
why would you?
Why would you? Like I obviously understand why people do so, right? But at the end of the day, it's also important to remember, God says this, you know, He knew you'd be a sinner and He still said this.
Yeah.
He knew you turned your back on Him.
He still sent His Son. Yeah.
And He still sent His Son.
He knew everything you were gonna do, and He said you're still worthy.
And
you're still worthy.
You're worth it.
Yeah.
So in that context, it shows that in everything, you're very valued.
Yeah.
In God's eyes. So not everyone's gonna think you're worthy.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
A lot of people are going to look at you and think, and the way they treat you doesn't give vibes of.
And I think when you learn what you deserve, your crowd really changes. Like you go from accepting friendships where you're doing like 90% to going to places where you're loved and you're valued a lot more.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's something that I had to learn to outgrow, to leave spaces where I feel like I'm always giving and never receiving. Yeah, I don't know if you can relate to that.
Yeah, because I'm someone that as well is like really loving and really giving. Yeah. So like I'm always willing to go 110%, the extra mile for other people. But then I also realize that, okay, I'm going the extra mile for these people, but they're never
you're not gonna do it.
You're
for
not
me.
willing to do the same thing for me. So when you realize that, okay, I'm worthy of more, it's okay to still be a kind and giving and loving person. But if you're not gonna go the same lengths for me, then I'm not gonna put in the same effort.
Absolutely.
For you,
Absolutely.
You know?
I can't compromise every single time. Like it's just not fair.
It's not fair to you.
To anyone in general. I don't know why people would ever. Yeah.
You know, I have a question for both of you on self-worth. You know, like with relationships, let's say, right, where people are with someone that's like not treating them so well, you know, they're not calling their phones. Like with self-worth, what advice would you give someone in that situation?
Ooh. I'll let the guests go first.
I think I'm a huge giver, right? Like, I will give someone the benefit of the doubt like 1,000,006 times before I start that, right? Even in relationships. The advice I'd give someone is, I think the more you choose to be disrespected, the less you're choosing yourself. And I say that in a way that people will be like, I'm doing this for my relationship, for my future. Like, I want to build something with this person. This is for long-term relationships. Not everyone is doing things for long-term, right? But for long-term relationships.
Serious people.
For serious people who are planning on, marriage and kids and stuff. The rest of you just scroll.
Just skip down.
Yeah, serious people. You need to remember that if this person is disrespecting you or not putting in the effort now, nothing's gonna change in the future. It's like people think that once you get married, like a switch is just flipped.
Like
all of a sudden they can love you better, like because now you're his wife. If he can't love you as a girlfriend, my sister, just leave.
No, but honestly, like you're saying, people aren't just going to change. Like, especially if you're in a long-term relationship, you've been with this person, like Daniel said, they're not hitting up your phone, they're not giving that same effort you're giving. What's suddenly going to change? Like,
absolutely
the problem with people is, especially with self-worth, like if you ignore the red flags continuously, it comes back to bite you. Because, like you said, like you give people the benefit of the doubt. I do that as well. I'll be like, you know what, it's okay. Like in general, like in terms of my friendships, etc. I give people the benefit of the doubt. Like this is not the worst of them,
Yeah,
like
they can be better.
They can be better.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah, and I genuinely believe people can do better. However, if someone shows you a pattern of behavior and they show that they're not willing to change, you're not doing yourself justice by staying in that situation, that friendship, that relationship. You're not doing yourself justice.
And I think if you stay in situations like that, all you're gonna attract is relationships outside of like romantic ones, relationships like that as well. Like if people see, oh, this is the type of person you're dating, that's the type of treatment they're gonna give you. Like the level of respect you put out there, like, listen, this is what I'll accept and this is what I won't, is what you're gonna attract.
Like I was talking to someone the other day, and the analogy that I came up with is like, there's a difference between fast food and like an actual like 5-star restaurant.
Yeah.
People know that it's fast food, like it's just a drive-through. I can be there for 5 minutes and I'll leave. And I get what I need and I leave. Now it's a 5-star restaurant. People know, okay, I want the starter, I want the main meal, I want dessert, I want everything. I'm willing to put time into this. I'm willing to put money. I'm going to put effort into how I look.
I'm willing to wait. I'll be patient to wait for it to come.
But you're not about to wait 30 minutes for some KFC.
Real.
Like you're not going to wait in that. So that's also how you project yourself to other people. If you look like and you treat yourself like a fast food restaurant, people, that's what you're going to attract. People that want to eat fast food.
Eat and dip.
Eat and dip.
Which is what nobody wants to be.
No one wants to be someone that's just eating and dip. So if you actually want people to treat you that way, and some people just like in general, they won't treat you right. You could be everything and they just won't treat you right.
Yeah, I had to learn the hard way that some people just aren't good people.
Yeah, some people are just not good.
They're just not good.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with
how
you project yourself. But you notice a trend of like, that's my type. Is it really your type, or is that what you're really attracted? Why is the same type of person, the same type of people are attracted to you?
You must reflect on what it is about you that attracts those people. It's like, often people will be like, I want to go somewhere new. People be like, oh, I want to leave Malawi and I want to start over, right? I'm willing to bet that the same problems that face you socially in this country, you'll find everywhere else, because it has to do with your character.
Like, I've had so many people that say, okay, because I'm leaving from Malawi, I'm going to be happy now. And then when they leave,
let me tell you from personal experience, it's not gonna happen. You're gonna have to reflect on yourself and really sit down and be like, what is it about my life that causes these things to happen? Like, one of the biggest issues I've had is being in relationships where people are constantly just taking from me, draining me. And the thing about giving people all the time is you're pouring into their cup, but eventually you're gonna run empty,
and then your cup is empty,
and no one is pouring into you. So then What next?
And you have nothing left.
Exactly.
So it creates this void within yourself, and you're
Absolutely.
like, how do I fill this void? So you try these distractions. Oh, now that I'm moving, things are going to be different. That's not how it works.
It's really not.
You need to reflect on yourself as a whole. If there's a pattern of people, a pattern that you're attracting, ask yourself. Okay, and especially like sometimes you look at it and you're like, okay, but I wasn't the problem in this relationship. I wasn't the problem in this friendship. It was them, right? But it's so important to take accountability and ask, okay, obviously they did me dirty, but what did I contribute?
Absolutely.
Me as a human being, why is it that people keep doing me dirty? Why is it that I keep attracting this?
Why don't I love myself enough to be able to say, okay, this is enough, I've drawn
set boundaries from the very beginning.
Exactly.
That okay, you don't look like you're treating me how I value myself, how I see my worth, so I'm not gonna stay here. I'm not gonna settle for that.
I'm good. That's not what I deserve.
And for me, I had this thing where I was constantly settling for the bare minimum in my friendships, like I said earlier. And I had this altar call in church, and it was like, you're a princess, God saying you're a princess. And I thought about it, and I was like, okay, a princess is someone that's highly valued, that is the king, so it's royalty, not just anybody can see a princess, the certain levels you need to go through just to get access to a princess. And I was like, okay, what have I actually been tolerating in my life? If I really am a princess, if God is telling me that I am a princess, what have I been tolerating? What have I been allowing to come into my life? So for me, that meant a quick, a total mental switch.
Yeah, you really had to shift things up.
And before I started saying, okay, this person, when you move differently, people that you surround yourself with actually notice it. And they start to distance themselves as well. It's not like you have to cut everyone off. Sometimes that is the case. But people around you also begin to notice that, okay, you know what? The space she's in and the space I'm in is completely different.
I just don't agree anymore.
You don't agree
I
anymore.
Totally get what you're saying. Yeah. I think I had after being saved, my life fully changed from being Miss Outside all the time to being a Miss, to being Miss in church, all of the time. And when you say that, things shift, I've realized that there's some friendships that simply just didn't hold on anymore because of a different environment. And I think it's really about the aura that you cultivate. Like if you go into certain spaces, you should be able to be able to say, okay, this is the type of environment I want to be in because apart from just caring for yourself, like loving yourself in a social environment, but health-wise as well. There's certain things that I just won't eat and drink anymore because I love my body. Like it's more than just loving my mental status as well. I want to take care of her so when she's 60, she looks 30 still. That's what I'm trying to be.
Like the Bible says, your body is a temple.
Exactly.
So you need to be very cautious of what you're putting inside it, what you're consuming. A lot of people think it's just about the mental state of it, but it's also about how you're treating yourself physically.
And your physical definitely impacts your mental.
Gym
goers can tell you this. When you treat your physical body right, your mental, 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be pretty good.
Like a lot of people talk about gymming being like a coping mechanism as well. Like it keeps you in check. So it's not just about your mental state, but you also need to look at your physical, your emotional, your spiritual. All of these are part of you and they form one. So if you're taking care of all of those, then you're valuing yourself as a whole. You say, okay, I have self-worth. I value how I am. I take care of myself. Okay, it's easy to say this now, like the way we're just spitting right now. But
do we do it though?
Do it. It's easy to be like, oh, okay, no, you guys, you should do this. You should, go to the gym, take care of your mental, take care of your emotional, spiritual, But to actually, what would you say to someone that has no self-worth whatsoever? They've grown up with insecurities. They've grown up being told you are not worthy, you're not worthy. Where do you start from there?
It's crazy because I'm literally wearing a t-shirt that says reborn. I'm not advertising them or anything. I kind of am. But you can always start over. You can always reinvent yourself. So long as you have breath in your lungs, you get the chance to say, I want to start again. And if you say, well, I've already been told this my entire life, I'm going to switch it to Christianity again. Your identity lies in the Creator. It lies in the fact that our Heavenly Father said, you are worthy enough for me to send my son to die for you. But if you're not super religious and Christian, I can still say that rebirth is for everybody. You can choose You get to decide every single morning that I want to start over. If you decide today that, you know, I want to be different, I want to start something, I want to start my own podcast, I want to start a business, I want to learn a new skill. You can do that at any point in time, and it's a work in progress. It's never gonna be a one and done.
Yeah,
you're gonna fail. You will fail, but that's the good thing about, you know, learning. You have to fail multiple times. They said, I don't know if this is true, but the guy who created light bulbs, he failed over 99 times, and then towards the hundreds is when he succeeded. Imagine if he never continued.
If, you know, we'd just be in darkness.
Exactly. You wouldn't be able to see us right now. Like, you know, where would we
if
be?
not that, someone else would have come up with it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, when something is created for you, when it's your purpose to do so, it doesn't matter how many times you fall down. You have to get back up again.
Real.
They say fall down 6 times, get up 7, you know? Like, it's really hard, obviously. Like, especially if you meet countless, like, if you keep hitting brick walls.
Yeah.
Like, I'm at a point in my life where I feel like I've just been hitting brick walls.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah,
And
that was me last year for sure.
where you just feel like you keep hitting brick walls.
There was no way I felt like I was going to get past it. You know, I felt like I was at my end, which is kind of insane. But I mean, I think both of us still being here is a testament to that. You know, you can keep trying again.
You can keep trying. You can keep pushing.
Yeah.
So when I realized, okay, I am worthy. You know, I have a purpose for being here. There's a reason I keep hitting brick walls. You know, and the Bible says the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Only.
And if you're someone that's got an extreme purpose, even the devil will know that, okay, I have to watch out for her.
He's going to try hard.
He's going to keep throwing obstacles in your way so that you can back down.
It's like the story of Job. That guy lost his kids. He lost his house. He lost everything.
His wife literally told him, just kill yourself. Like,
imagine that.
Your wife says,
the love of your life. Just end it, bro.
And like, this is too much now. What you're going through is too much now.
Yeah, I don't know how he got through that, but he did, you know? And at the end of it, ending.
A happy ending. And you know, in all of it, he said, I still trust God. I still trust God. Like, in desperate times. Like, I was doing a Bible study with Clara today, and she was talking about how with Jesus, when he was in the desert and the devil's constantly trying, like, he was in the wilderness now, he's tired,
he's hungry as hell,
you know, and the devil keeps trying to throw, and he kept countering back with scripture, you know, because he knew his word, you know. He said, no, the devil's like, just throw yourself over, since you know God is king and everything, just throw yourself over. And you know, he said, no, God, the Bible says,
he knew his identity. He was rooted in who he was.
He was rooted in his identity because he knew his word. He knew his purpose. So if you know your purpose, and if you're so strong rooted, despite whatever is thrown in your face, you know that, okay, like, I'm saying this as if it's easy. Like, it's okay to cry. I cried. I cried. Some days, you know, it's okay to just to let it all to break down and actually be like,
I think people think crying is weakness, but it's really not. I think it's a lot stronger to be able to face your emotions and be vulnerable and say, listen, this is what I'm going through, and it hurts like hell, but I'm gonna force myself through it, and I'm gonna understand and deal with my emotions. You know? I feel like it's a lot weaker to say, I'm just gonna ignore it. Like, you're not really facing the problem.
I'm just gonna act like nothing happened.
And at the end of it, you are gonna fall apart. Like, no matter who you think you are, you're gonna reach your end, and all that pent up emotion is just going to.
And the problem is, it unleashes at the worst time. So it's like, it keeps getting worse. The pressure keeps building.
It's just building.
It keeps building, and then all of a sudden,
someone just hits you like this, and you start crying. You fall apart.
It's like that thing, you know, when you fall down in public, right? And then you're like, you're fine. You're actually fine. Like, it wasn't that bad before. But now everyone starts coming, hey, sorry.
And everybody's like,
and then you just start crying, right?
Yeah. Like I was okay.
I was okay. The fall wasn't that bad. But it's that sort of thing where throughout the process, like, it's bad, but it wasn't that bad. But you reach a breaking point now, and everything else is contributing, where now there's nothing you can do.
I have a question for you, though. You mentioned being rooted in who you are. I wanted to ask, in this generation, how can you stand so strong in your identity, considering there's so many influences coming from all over?
That's a good point, because, like you said, with social media, like, there's just so much that contributes, and you're like, who am I really? Like, I have so many friends right now that have been telling me, like, I don't even know who I am. I'm trying to find myself. And honestly, for me, what I did was I found myself in God first, and then I found, like, okay, this is really who I am. Because now when you trust social media and you do all of this before you actually find yourself, the values don't align.
Absolutely.
So now, because I'm a strong Christian, I'm a strong believer, I'll say, okay, God says this, the word says this, so there's certain things I can do, there's certain things that I can't do.
Yeah.
So from that already, the type, like you said, the type of crowd that you're attracting, the type of people that you're interacting with, it changes. And you slowly begin to find yourself. Because if you're with Christ, you now know, okay, I'm here for a purpose. So when you're finding your purpose, slowly you find yourself along the way. Like, finding yourself is a big thing as well. On top of that, like, so much contributes to it. Like, you won't just wake up and say, I found myself, I know what I like, I know what I don't like. It changes over time as well.
I think
like,
you have to be really intentional about it as well, because you can't say, oh, everything I've experienced up to now, it makes me who I am. I think you really have to pick and choose. You know, like, the painful stuff you've been through in life, yes, those are my scars. They don't make me who I am, but they definitely contribute because I've gone through those things, so I know how to navigate it, maybe. You know?
Like, that's such a good point, because a lot of people think their trauma defines them.
No.
Your trauma doesn't define you.
It doesn't. In fact, getting through that trauma is more, I think, of what makes you who you are than the trauma
the resilience
itself.
that you built. It's not, you are not defined by the trauma, but the resilience that you had going through it. So a lot of people have this mindset that, you know what, I'm a victim. But you're a victor. The fact that you're able to go through so much trauma, build yourself, reinvent yourself, and still come out as strong as you are today shows how strong you are.
Absolutely.
And that's who you should define. That's what you should define yourself by. I was talking to someone and they said you need to rephrase the way you look at life.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you look at it and put separate words on them, like, oh, for example, I was with the narcissist, I was with the manipulator, and because of that, I'm a clown. Oh, and I mean, that may be the reality of it. I don't know.
No, please continue.
Like, people say, okay, now I'm a clown, I'm what? Okay, you may be a clown, that's true, but you need to tell yourself that
I feel personally attacked, but okay.
Yes, you are a clown, but now you need to rephrase and say,
okay, maybe you were a clown. I think it's like,
not you are, so you were a clown.
We're talking about loving ourselves here. People clown.
Yes, you were a clown, right? But now how do you look at yourself? Oh, I went through this.
I'll do you one better. You acted like a clown. Your identity is not that you are.
It doesn't mean that you are.
Acted like one.
There we go.
But it's
you
not
acted like a clown, but that's not who you are. You need to say, oh, okay, cool. I learned something with that.
That was silly of me.
I was with someone badly behaved. Because you know, the minute you start putting titles on people, that's how you start seeing people. And there's no room for forgiveness in that.
Absolutely.
Like, someone could really be a narcissist, a manipulator, etc. But the minute you start looking at them as a narcissist, a manipulator, you build so much hate and anger in your heart as well.
I think you saying, you know, don't put titles on people, it reminds me of some analogy that I heard a while ago. And it has to do with smoking, but I'll relate it to the topic.
Yeah.
They basically said, if you're trying to quit, don't say, oh, I'm trying to quit smoking when you're offered a cigarette. Say, oh, no, I don't smoke. Oh, I quit smoking.
I quit.
And that just, the simple change in phrase changes everything completely, because going from, oh, I'm trying to, oh, no, I'm doing it. It does something in your mind that really most people don't understand the power of. So when you say, oh, don't call someone a narcissist, or don't say, oh, I'm this or I'm that, if it's a bad thing, what you're doing is you're allowing room in your mind for expansion, for growth, for better things to be put in. Feel me? Yeah.
So without even noticing it, it sinks into your subconscious. Like, the way your subconscious develops feelings and truths about different things is so amazing. Because I did this workshop sort of about training your mind, and they were talking about how he said the first time he ate oats, he was like 9, and he just thought they were disgusting. So after that, now every time he'd see oats or whatever, even though there's so many benefits from oats, and oats be like, he'd be like,
nasty,
because of that one opinion that had been formed and had sunk into his subconscious. So now when you say stuff like, this situation makes me a clown, that's what you're feeding into your subconscious. All this negative self-talk.
Words have power.
Words have power. Even the Bible says there's power in your words.
Your tongue is life and death lies in your tongue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now, okay, I acted like a clown in that situation, but I'm worthy. I know my worth.
I'm better than that.
I'm better than that. That's
I've
about
learned
me.
from it.
I'm fearfully and wonderfully made.
Exactly.
But no, I was gonna say, like, you know, on that, like, getting to that point, like, of course, like, for people in this, like, you know, in our current environment, it's like there's that sense of conformity to like the things going on around them. So it's like, even if your friends are like, yeah, we're just going out, we're just gonna be having fun, you know, every night, it's like, you know, that's eventually. So what you say to someone like in that situation, like, or if you guys have been in that situation, what's your experience with it?
Go on, miss.
And that's like people just conforming to the environment around them, basically, like sort of peer pressure sort of vibes, and it becoming part of them. In that sense, I would say honestly, you need to find who you are away from your friends.
Yeah.
You need to take time away from people around you and say, okay, I'm like Mary said, you need to be very intentional about finding yourself. So you need to take time away from people and say, you know what? I'm trying to find myself. I'm going through this journey. Set those boundaries up. Guys, when you're going out, don't even tell me. Don't tell me you're going to have
I don't want to know.
Because I'll say yes. Yeah. Like, I even, like, with my friends, like, there's this certain topic that bothers me. And I tell, don't even bring it up. Like, until I've dealt with this on my, by myself, let's not even talk about it. Because I know when I'm in that environment, the way I look at the situation versus the way I look at it by myself is completely different. Like, going back to this idea of relationships. When you're with your friends, like, let's say you got cheated on or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, you know, it's okay. Like, you know, do him better.
They're holding back tears.
You're holding back, but they'll be laughing about it, and they'll be like, you know, it's okay. Like, just stay. You know how many, whatever. Like, oh, he'll get you something. My friends used to say, find your favorite cheater and stay with him.
I hate that.
Find your favorite cheater and stay with him.
It's so unfortunate that, like, that is the truth currently, especially in the city we are in. But like, this city.
God.
Yeah, sorry. No, okay. Let's just say the country as a whole is probably not where you want to, you know. But I don't agree with the phrase because we're letting people be. I don't know.
You're letting people think, okay, I can cheat anyways. I should stay.
Exactly. There's no consequences to the action. Like if he cheats, leave. Like
no two ways about it.
Because I think people actually undermine what cheating is. It's essentially someone choosing a circumstance or a person over their relationship with you. They're saying my respect for you, my love for you, my care for you means a lot less than getting this little piece of meat for the night. That's what they're saying to you. And when you stay, you're saying, well, that's fine. I mean, I guess she is worth more than me. And we can't compare worth because it's like you can't compare friends. Some friends are for certain things, you know? Yeah. So you can't say, oh no, she's worth more, or whatever. But when you're allowing someone to be put on a pedestal above you, you're just gonna keep on lowering yourself into
and it brings you into like insecurity as well.
You will compare.
You will compare. Like I saw this thing on TikTok, and it's like the obsession with the other woman once you allow someone to. So you constantly be stalking.
You're gonna be on her page. What nails she has.
What caption she has.
The nail tech she goes to.
The 20-second.
Like, and you don't have peace, and that's not loving yourself either. You know.
So you need to be able to say, when I'm in this situation, and this is not just in a relationship context, when you're being done a disservice of any sort, you need to ask yourself, is this something really worth saying? Like, even with your friends, you know, sometimes your friends will do something, like they'll put you in a situation that
makes you really uncomfortable.
And they know that it makes you uncomfortable. And you say, you know what, I'll still stay in this friendship, you know. But you need to choose and you say, okay, this person is willing to treat me this way. They're willing to do this
as my friend.
And they call themselves.
They call me friend.
You can't stay in that.
You can't. You really can't. You mentioned about, you know, stalking someone's page and stuff, and I had a question about that. It's just left my mind. Generation. How do you maintain self-love when there's impossible standards being set up?
That's actually true, hey? Like, nowadays, the standards that people set for each other, like, I'm not saying that you can't have high expectations and high standards, but sometimes they seem almost impossible. Especially like with social media, like you get on social media and immediately, if your page is like mine, you see models, etc., and you're like, how do I
compare to that?
How do you compare? And the truth is, you can't.
Yeah,
you really can't. You know, you can't go in and say, okay, how do I look like Chloe Bailey? You can't.
My sister.
You can't. You know. And in that sense, you also need to channel what are you actually looking at on your social media. is it healthy for you? Like, if constantly seeing models makes you compare yourself to other people and not like say, oh damn, she looks really cute, or she looks what, and then after that move on with your day. If it's something that's bothering you and these are standards that you're not asking yourself, how did I get there, and you're doubting yourself, then that isn't content you should be seeing. It's toxic for you.
It really is. So what you'd suggest that maybe realigning your For You page, honestly, or your stream or whatever.
There's no problem. People say there's an issue. I see no problem in unfollowing people, or whether it's celebrities, people mutuals. If they make you feel uncomfortable in any way, if it's if you feel a type of way about it, you can unfollow it. At the end of the day, they're your socials. Like, something that I used to do so often was deactivate my accounts. So I'd go off social media for maybe a month, etc., or 2 weeks, and I'd say I'm taking a social media break, and people would be like, why do you do that all the time? Why do you it's so,
social media isn't real life, and I think people forget that. It's like when you're not active on social media, you cease to exist, but in truth you're actually existing a lot more than you actually do on social media. And I think currently it's like your presence on whatever social platform you're most active on is you showing, oh, I exist, oh, I'm alive. I think it's really good for anyone to just for a second step outside of who am I apart from what I post on Instagram. Who am I apart from Instagram recents, apart from how many likes I get, how many views I get. Who am I outside of that? What type of relationships do I have? Am I more than what people see on my page? And I think also a lot of people we look up to aren't really authentic on these social media platforms. Like, you're gonna see a hun who's going to 5-star restaurants 2 times a week. I'm willing to bet she went there on public transport, but she's not gonna show that. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, who are you outside of all of these fake standards people put up there?
I met this lady and she was talking about how a lot of the time when she goes to the club with her friends or whatever, she'll find these girls and they'll be sipping on one drink the same night, right? While they'll take snaps, they'll take some, and now you're looking up to this person like, OMG, she's able to go to places like this, she's able to do that, not knowing, like you said, she came on public transport. No problem with public transport.
No problem with that. I'm not trying to shame it, but like, they're just not gonna show certain aspects.
She came on public transport, she's sipping on the same drink, and then she's going home, and now you look up like, damn, how did this person make this money?
How did she afford that?
People lie. People be posting forex, soiree, or getting the bag.
Nah, the thing is, these personal attacks, they
No, it's not personal. It's not personal. It's really not.
And also, people will be posting the music, the what, and they'll be like, oh, look, we're getting this bag, we're getting it. How do you know that's not coming from the parents?
Real.
How do you know the parents aren't the ones that send the money and they're like, oh, look.
And I think, what, people need to learn to be okay with their circumstances and being okay with their situations. Like, and I'm not saying be okay with it in that you don't want to be better. Absolutely better yourself. You were born in a certain class of a family, and you had certain experiences because of where you came from. Seek better, absolutely, but don't make it a point where you have to pretend to be something you're not.
Something you're not.
Yeah.
And that just shows like worthy people, you can tell it by what they post, how they act, how they behave. You get what I mean? Like, I know there's this whole Insta baddie thing, right? I don't categorize people as that, guys. It's not nice.
Yeah.
It's not nice.
Yeah.
But like, in terms of for me, when I'm looking at someone's page, like, I can tell this person values who they are just by the content people share, by how they act. Like, sometimes people give so little so that people don't know the reality of the situation, and some people give so much and you still
you can see that's authentic. Yeah. And I think self-love is authenticity. Being your authentic self is loving yourself,
and that's how you really portray and show your worth. Yeah. Okay. This is fun. Thank you so much for coming on.
Love to be here.
And please, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.